Property appraiser's office is often misunderstood for what we do for government. We're often confused with a tax assessor, which is what we were called until 1976, or the tax collector. But our primary responsibility is to appraise every property in the county every year at a market value and to administer exemptions. The reason our office is sensitive to that is because often when values go up and the county commissioners or city council members decide to stick with their current millage rates, then there's a tax increase. And guess who gets blamed? Our office is always the one that gets the calls and gets blamed for the tax increase, when in fact we have a constitutional duty to follow the market. So every year we are appraising at market value. It's up to the county commissioners to decide on what their budget needs are and also what the millage rate needs to be to support that budget. Even some of our taxing authorities rely solely on the economy to improve or market values to increase their tax base and the revenue. They don't seem to understand that just because the market values increase, that doesn't translate into an increase in the taxable value. So in essence, the market can increase as much as supply and demand dictates, 10–15% a year, but Florida's capping system is going to lock that into no more than 3% for homestead properties and no more than 10% for non-homestead properties. And back to the homestead properties, it's 3% or the consumer price index. And this year the consumer price index has us locked at 0.7%. So no matter what the market does, if they increase 8, 7, 10% a year, we're locked into no more than 0.7% for homestead properties. The property appraiser's office doesn't work for the Board of County Commissioners or any of the other taxing authorities. We're actually overseen by the Department of Revenue, who annually approves our roll and our budget, and they also do routine audits. It's important to have a separation of government, and Florida separates government into the 5 different constitutional offices: the clerk of the court, the tax collector, the sheriff, supervisor of election, and then our office, the property appraiser. To help you understand why we need a separation, you wouldn't want a county commissioner placing pressure on my office to raise property values to a certain point just to increase the tax revenue, and they could do that by saying they're not going to approve our budget. So the Department of Revenue has taken that over. They approve our budget, they approve our roll, and they oversee our office. Because the property appraiser's office often gets blamed for the tax increases anytime property values increase, we have a vested interest in seeing that we have a diversified county, and it's very important that we broaden that tax base. Residential properties, for example, use about $1.50 for every tax dollar that they produce. And in contrast, industrial commercial properties and office properties use about 50 cents for every dollar that they produce in taxes. So we have a very vested interest in seeing that we expand this tax base and not just become a bedroom community for Jacksonville. Thank you for the opportunity that you've given us today to explain more to the public on what the property appraiser's office does and doesn't do. We work very hard to make sure that they understand that we have a constitutional duty to appraise every property in the county every year to a fair market value, and that we have little to no control over the assessed value or the taxable value, and that we love Nassau County just as much as anyone else. My hope for the future of Nassau County is that we can continue to broaden the tax base with smart growth and take advantage of those land uses that produce more in tax revenue than they do in services, and that will continue to grow and enjoy the natural resources that we have.